So I didn't really film it, but this is the passenger side of the block here, and I basically just took the headers off. The block is upside down right now, but I went ahead and put a coat of engine enamel on this stuff. Just some engine with ceramic, basically. Should withstand the heat. That's what it's made for. Just kind of doing this silver look. The motor or the engine, it's kind of ugly, you know. It's kind of dirty before, kind of like that. So I think what I'm gonna do now is I'm actually gonna strip all the components off of the passenger side here, and then we'll paint up the passenger side. I got like 10 minutes between coats, so I just did the first little light coat on that side. I'll do another light coat and then one heavy coat. These bolts taken out right now. These kind of go for the bracket for the water pump and for the intake. So I'm gonna have to put all of this stuff back on. Sorry guys, I have this flipped. So we're gonna flip the camera upside down and it would look like this from the top. So it's these ones. There's 2 bolts here, 13 mils. Looks like a 10 millimeter here for like this wiring harness piece. These are our knock sensors here, so looks like I'll probably have to just take the knock sensors out real quick. So as far as all of these things I need to take off, we're going to be taking off the mounts for the intake manifold here. Intake manifold, this is for the wiring harness, this little guy right down here. See that? That one goes there. Got a 10 mm here. This transfer tube here for the heater hose, and then these are for the throttle body here. This one's gonna go bye-bye. Brown sensor is gonna go there. This one is also gonna go bye-bye, but I'm gonna have to like just weld this hole up and chop this off and basically make that go away. This one here, if you're wondering what does that do, that is going to go to your expansion tank right here, and that's where you fill up with water. So boom, right there for your coolant. Have to take the intake off as well, or sorry, not the intake, the alternator. I don't know why I said intake. That's a stud. Like legit, I just want to like take this off and then paint it and then put it all back on, clean it up in the meantime while I'm kind of like waiting between coats, because there's a lot of little like just nuts and bolts that could be easily misplaced, it seems. I'm gonna go ahead and mark these knock sensors. I don't know whether it matters front or rear, but the easiest thing to do is to mark them. So this will say F on it, and this will say R on it. Let's take those bolts out real quick. Easier to mark them now than not mark them later, basically. Those ones have a longer bolt for them. Alternator, I'll just leave that on the alternator, that's fine. Probably take off the crankshaft position sensor as well, just because I don't want to paint it. Yeah, basically. Okay, definitely not something you want to have get stuck in there, but there is 2 O-rings here, so we're gonna replace those O-rings because we don't want those going bad. We don't want to leak in the future. Again, I apologize guys for this being upside down, so we're gonna 180 it so you can see the normal situation here if you were looking at it from the top or in your car. So we are gonna remove the oil filter housing. Now this is a US spec. In the future, I did end up doing, that's probably the one part that I'm gonna be like, damn it, I should have bought it. I want to probably get the European one because it has outputs, like I think they're about right here for an oil cooler. But I mean, I don't know. We'll kind of see how it goes. We'll you know, monitor the oil temps and all that sort of stuff, because we can actually, I think we can do logging because it's going to be OBD2. So this is the Vanos line right here, which I'm going to pop off. It's just a little banjo bolt right there. Here you have like your oil pressure. There are definitely like things you're gonna need to replace here, but I'm gonna pop these off. These look like 13 millimeters, so 1, 2, 3, I think 4 bolts there. Maybe some stuff on the front, I don't know, I think it might just be 4, but there is a gasket that we're gonna get to behind there, and then we're gonna paint up the block, 180, guys, and get this looking good. Ooh, look at that. BMW. So in case you guys are wondering, as far as bolts go, there are 2 longer ones and 2 shorter ones. The shorter ones went in what would be the bottom of the oil pickup thing, and then the top ones are the longer guys here, just in case you want to know. I think I got another bolt here. This looks like a really long one. Yep, extra long guy right there. Extra long one. So shorter as they get to the bottom, longer as they're at the top. 3 are the same size, but you can kind of just look at it and kind of just tell like what's what. So let's pull that off there. Okay, this is where having this little tray comes in super handy, because that oily mess. Here's where that gasket is. This is that tray I'm talking about. Huge investment. Get one of these engine stand trays, or else you're gonna be hating life, because every time you pull something off, it's gonna get destroyed. But we're gonna replace this gasket in here. But first, we'll just kind of take it out, see how old it is. It's fairly stiff. It doesn't look like it was really leaking at all before, but this is just one of those easy things to do now. You want to get out of the way, so we'll clean this up. And yeah, I'll just kind of clean this stuff all down, and then I can prep this side. Oh, I got to take that crankshaft position sensor out, but then we can spray this side down. Masked up. About to paint this other side here. Got it all masked up for any of the little spots, and we'll make this look a little bit better. All right, coat 1.
Hey there, dudes. Me, Bert. Peeing on this wall right here next to the engine build. It's pretty sweet. Yeah. So I'm sniffing some of this stuff here. I want to go back inside, but I just wanted to say, what's up? This is the Birdie 30 build. It's named after me because I'm awesome. And yeah, my name's Wilbert, and I'm just a badass. So don't fuck with me, okay? Yes. All right, let me inside, dudes. Okay.
All right, guys. So I am going to put in the brown E30 temperature sensor, which is going to go right here. This is for the old, like, coolant thing where it heats up the throttle body. I don't need that. I live in a warm climate. It's not a big deal for me. It's the race car, and that's the wrong size wrench. I think it's a 16 or 17, but we're going to go ahead and pull that off, and that is where the new threaded brown sensor goes. All right, so this is a 17 mil here. Woo! Okay, broke that loose, maybe? No, I didn't, maybe not. This is the brown temperature sensor. This is not for the ECU. This is for the gauge cluster, so that your car registers the proper temperature, at least as far as I know, that's what it's for. This sensor has been threaded right down here to fit this hole. I got this from Castle Performance with my wiring harness, but you can also get these from Race German. I'll have links to everything down below, guys, and it does help if you guys purchase through those links, because it goes directly back to the channel. It does not cost you anything extra. Sometimes I have discount codes down there as well. And yeah, it makes it to where we can do more of this stuff, and maybe like an S54 in the future, which would be freaking rad. Okay guys, so the engine block is painted. I'm gonna go ahead and put the knock sensors back on. I just gotta tighten those down. And right here is the crankshaft position sensor. You can see it has a old O-ring on it. This is the new O-ring, so I'm just gonna slip that on there. This had a Allen head as well. Just gonna go ahead and reinstall this into the block right here. You want to make sure you got a little bit of oil on that O-ring as well, but we're going to tighten that down, and I'm just going to get this stuff back on. Now, any of the areas that may have been affected by the paint, I'm just going to go ahead and hit them really quick with the razor blade just to clean those areas up so they're still machined. But overall, this thing looks a lot better. this oil filter housing gasket on. You can see it only goes one direction, which is basically just like this. If you got any paint on this, make sure to clean that up with a razor blade. I went ahead and cleaned up this piece right here. So I'm just gonna throw it in here at first, and then we will torque it down there on the block. It's a very simple thing to install when it is off of the car. Now when it's on the car, you may have a little bit harder of a time just because of well, getting everything kind of out of the way that would normally be there, but we can just go ahead and put that all back on. Smaller bolts went in the top area. Remember, we kind of worked smaller to larger bolts, and then I'm going to go ahead and figure out the proper torque for this. The two that are just a little bit bigger go here. You'll obviously know because the bolts will be too long if you have them in a spot that's too long. The really long one goes right down here. That is the longest kind of part of this whole thing. And then you have the last one, which is right down here, which is actually a short one. So go ahead and snug that up. Like I said, I'm gonna find the factory torque value. It's probably around 22 Newton meters. I'm not totally sure though. I'll figure that out in a sec here, and we'll get that torque down. What's up, guys? So I accidentally deleted the footage where I torqued down the oil housing, so I'm looking at that right now. So I went ahead and torqued all those bolts down to factory spec. Go ahead and use a good torque wrench. I just picked up this Mac tool torque wrench. It has angle and all that good stuff, but yes, it's like almost 450 bucks or whatever. But this thing's badass. So I've been torquing all of the bolts down on the engine. So pretty much that wraps up the paint job for the engine, but as you can see, I do have the oil pan on here. I have modified that stuff up. So we're gonna be doing different videos on that. So I make sure to subscribe, guys, if you have not, if you wanna see the E34 oil pan swap for the front sump situation. Also gonna do a video on modifying the dipstick tube. Also gonna do a video on like doing the wiring and all that stuff next. So plus the fuel rail swap and all that, rebuilding, just pretty much everything. Gonna be rebuilding injectors, all that type of stuff. Right here, pretty much next, I think next video, I think we'll, I might just do the oil pan stuff. Either that or I might do a video on the wiring harness. I don't know, that's probably the next one I'm gonna film. But anyways, guys, this is the full S52 swap in detail. So if you guys are doing a swap or thinking about doing a 24 valve swap on your E30, make sure to subscribe, check out the videos, like, share, comment. Let me know down in the description if you guys want to see anything specific, and we'll talk to you soon, later, and wrench on, guys.